Strata doesn't have to be a headache. Brought to you by Lita Castro, the founder of Redstone Lane Strata Management Services, this is Strata Assist. If you own property in WA, this podcast is for you. We'll break down the myths, simplify the rules, and help you navigate strata without the frustration. Because the more you understand it, the less you'll hate it. And that's what we're here to achieve. Let's get started.
Hi, welcome back. My name is Lee. I'm from Redstone Lane, and I'm kicking off from my last episode, which was how to fire your Strata Manager when you're not happy with your service. And the next step is choosing the next Strata Manager, making sure you're not going to end up with the same problems that you've just gone to all that effort to leave. So what really matters when choosing your Strata Manager, and the mistakes that people make just going off sales pitches, just looking at the fees, which is a huge mistake. The fees in Strata, I found, don't always correlate to the service that you're going to get. And cheaper fees, while they do generally mean a higher size portfolio that Strata manager is going to have to manage in order to get the income needed to sustain themselves, which means less time for you. Really expensive Strata manager doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have smaller portfolios or that they're going to be more experienced. There's a little bit of a trap in there. So number one, who will actually be managing my property? Is it the person coming to you? Is it the owner of the Strata company if they're a small management company? Who are you meeting and who are you actually going to be working with on a day-to-day basis? So find that out as key. Number one, who's going to be managing my property? Can I meet them? And can I actually make my decision based off them? Happy to have the business development manager there, and happy to have them set you up and do all of that work. But in the long term, that's a 2 to 3 year minimum contract that you're entering into. That salesperson, that business development person, is there maximum 6 months. So who is managing my property? Next, staff turnover. Big thing. Definitely take this into account. This is important. Is your manager here to stay? So companies that have high turnover, it's that loss of knowledge. It's that inconsistent service. One day you got somebody, you're like, yes, you're amazing. We've got all these projects happening. Then you get a dead spot, and then you get some junior or somebody who has no idea all of that history that you've just gone through over the past 12 months. And it can be really, really frustrating. So when you speak to a company, they're going to tell you the highlight of their long-term employees, and they'll say, yes, we've got 3 girls, they've been here for 20 years, and that's amazing. Dig a little deeper. Find out about the portfolio that you are going to be allocated to, and what is the staff turnover in that portfolio. That's going to be really important. You don't care what happens to the other clients in their business. You want to know what you're getting. So how many different managers have worked on my portfolio in the last 2 years? And how is that going to relate? Like, what are they doing to change that? What's going to happen with that moving forward into the future? That's what you're wanting to know. Team structure. Is there any backup? Am I going into a one-man show, or is there going to be 5 or 6 different people that are going to be touching in on my property? It's a personal preference of what's going to suit you best, but just be aware, if there's only one person, what happens when they go away, when they're sick or when they're on annual leave? Who's backing up for those times? And is there a dedicated assistant? So it's quite common to have assistants on portfolios, particularly with the senior strata manager. They'll have an assistant there who knows the properties almost as well as they do, and they can work in tandem. Having that there means that even if something happens, that strata manager wants to go on holiday or they're unwell and somebody else has to step in and fill in, there's an assistant there that can be like, oh, hey, I know that person. and I know what's going on with that thing. There's something happening here. That sort of feedback gives that continuation and consistency for you. So that can be a really big bonus if that's going to be offered to you, to your portfolio that you're working in. And so team structures, they can be in lots of different ways. Just check if that's something that is agreeable with you guys, if it's going to suit you guys to have maintenance managers, accounts teams, the assistants, the hierarchy level, where is the senior managers and how much involvement do they have, that sort of thing. Lots and lots of stuff there to think about, and to think about what suits you personally and comparing them. Next is communication. How will my strata be managed day to day, and how are we expected to communicate with you? What are the platforms? So most strata companies now will offer you a platform, a app that you can work on. Ask to have a test try of it. Say, hey, can you chuck me onto the test property so that I can have a feel of what it looks like? They should all have a test property that you can have a feel on. If they don't, and it matters to you, then that can be a bit of a red flag. You want to know what it is that you're going to be communicating on, and how useful is that going to be to you. Is everything done via email, or do they provide a decision-making platform? So generally that's part of the app, and that's where testing it can be really good. There's a lot that will say, look, speak amongst yourselves and just give me the instruction at the end. One person does that. If that suits you, great. If it doesn't, if you sort of say, oh no, we actually want to have a way that's consistent for us to help us make decisions where the strata manager can be involved, and where we can do the voting and things like that rather than us having to create that, can you provide us something? And working out what that looks like and what suits you guys will be something that can be quite life-changing to a council member, in how much time you guys having to spend doing this volunteer role, and how much service is provided in that platform. So it's not necessarily the strata manager, it's a provision of the technology that they're giving you. That's part of what you're purchasing when you enter into that contract with them. How big is the portfolio that I'm going to be in? So the portfolio is that individual strata manager. How many buildings and lots are they managing? So in strata, we generally will talk about how many lots, because 100 lot building and a 10 lot building has a lot of, there's going to be a lot of differences in how much work is required in that. There's still going to be a council members each. They're still going to have an insurance policy each, but 100 lots tends to have a lot more busyness going on and a lot more communication requirements. So how many lots does your strata manager manage? As a guide, a senior strata manager can manage up to 800 lots with some support. Anything over 800 lots, and they will need an assistant. Too few managements though, so anything under 600, that can be an alarm bell as well. So why do they have a small portfolio? Is it because they're inexperienced? Is there something else going on? So find out about that, find out what the reasons are, find out how they manage that, what their capacity is going to be. If you're a big building, how are you going to be impacting on that portfolio size? Because you're going to make a big impact if it's 100 lots. Understanding the fees, it's more than just that management fee that you're going to be looking at. The management fee, that's the easy part. It'll either be done as a single figure per lot, or it's done they'll give you just an overall figure per month or per year. But what about all those extras? Where are they coming from? Are they relevant to me? Do I really agree with these fees? So if you've got archive boxes, those physical boxes that are put into CompuStore, and you're charged between $6 and $15 a month to store those boxes, what is the plan for that when you move? Are they going to be taken out, or are you going to continue paying that fee every month? Are there admin fees on top of your management fee that are charged on a monthly basis? That's quite common. And for me personally, I don't find it necessary. Why would you have an additional fee charged on a monthly basis regardless of the work? Is that not what the management fee is there for? So looking at those ones, are they charging for their software provision or other things that don't provide you with any benefit, but it's sort of more like, well, that should be the day-to-day charges. That's part of you running a business. I don't want to be paying for that. So have a look at that. Find out how comfortable you are with them. Find out if they're negotiable. And yeah, go through all of those. So breaking this down and comparing fees from one strata management company to another, it can be really tricky. It almost requires a whole spreadsheet to work it all out. But ultimately, the cost generally should balance out, similar for each company. There are also different types of strata management companies, each with strengths and weaknesses. I'll cover that in detail in another episode, because you've got your specialized strata management companies, which only do strata management, and they can be a really large company or they can be really small, little tiny teams that are working independently. They work very differently, but they're both very specialized in it. You've got the ones that are working with real estate agents, so your real marks and things like that, where they provide everything you can imagine from commercial property management, residential strata management, sales, and strata management sort of like tacked on there as another service provision. Does that suit you? What do you need to consider about how those companies are structured? And there's a lot to dive into here, so I will look at doing that in a separate episode for you and talk about the pros and cons of those. But in closing for this episode, choosing your strata management company is all about the fit for you personally, and how do they match you as the council and how you want to work with your strata manager. Ask the tough questions, have it prepared, have a meeting with your council members in advance to say, what are our priorities? What are the things that we really, really want to see? And even when you're approaching different strata management companies, having a bit of an idea about which ones are you going to be approaching for a quote. Are you just going to all of them? Or are you going to target the ones that you know are going to provide you with what you want, or start somewhere with what you want? And a smooth sales pitch doesn't mean smooth management. Dig deeper, look at the long term. Who are you going to be working with, and what the portfolio is that you're going to be put into. And I'll finish off on, if you're looking for a strata manager who values transparency, responsiveness, and tech-driven advantages, you'll know where to find me. Thanks so much. I really hope that you're able to find the perfect strata manager.